Thank you, Stephanie. Like she mentioned, I'm going to be focusing on high-income countries. Obviously, all the needs that Stephanie mentioned can be prevalent in these countries as well, but there are some additional needs that reflect the higher levels of Maslow's pyramid, such as psychological and self-fulfillment needs. These countries' needs focus primarily on three of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals: gender equality, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and quality education. The three needs I will be talking about today are gender equality, political empowerment, and education and professional development. All of these needs are intertwined, but they can also be discussed separately. Just like Stephanie, when I think of issues related to gender equality, I first think of the gender pay gap and the glass ceiling. Gender equality is still an issue in every aspect of life, especially in the workforce. Although more women are in leadership roles than ever before, they are still not in numbers equal to men. To speak to this, I want to share some facts that I found in an article published by The Economist last month. In high and middle income countries that are a part of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the median income for a woman working full-time is 85% that of a man. As you can see on the slide, another figure shows that women earn on average 23 cents less than men do. Women and men tend to be segregated by industry. The occupations that are predominantly filled by women, such as teachers, nurses, and secretaries, pay less. The number of senior executives in America that are female are 1 in 5, yet women have earned half of the college degrees related to business since the year 2000. Women are less likely to receive that crucial first promotion because it usually happens around the same time that people want to start a family. Women's wages can fall anywhere from 4 to 10% per child, with maternity leave and time away from the workforce. Especially in America, where paid maternity leave is not a guarantee, it is difficult to recoup these financial losses from time away, while men have spent this time steadily moving on up the corporate ladder. In order to fully empower women in the workforce, we need to find a way to enable women to rejoin the workforce successfully without punishing them for the previous need to leave it. The next need we talk about is the need for political empowerment, both globally and nationally. I particularly like this definition of women's global political empowerment from an article I read, which is that it is the enhancement of assets, capabilities, and achievements of women to gain equality to men in influencing and exercising political authority worldwide. In the United States, we often have issues about women's rights and women's health that are thrown about in the political arena. Yet our Congress comprises of less than 20% of men, only 105 out of 535 combined seats. Before 2017, we even had 2 states, Missouri and Vermont, that had not sent a woman to the House or Senate yet. Despite women's lack of representation, there are a large number of bills related to women on the table at any given time. According to the website GovTrack, there are currently 26 bills in Congress that pertain in some way to women's rights, and 98 bills that cover the subject of women's health. Since there are more adult women than men currently living in the United States, we must make an effort for at least 50-50 gender representation at the national level, and encourage women to participate in the political field both in local and state levels as well. Of course, not everyone is called to be a representative, but everyone can be an advocate for women's political rights. The last need I will talk about is that of education and professional development. Stephanie talked about the basic need of education for literacy and affordable childcare and primary education. In higher income countries, those needs still exist in many areas, but there is also a need for higher education. Just like there is gender inequality in the workforce, so there often is in secondary and post-secondary education as well. Even though the vast majority of primary teachers are female, in 2011, less than 30% of presidents of higher education institutions were female. Only 35% of students enrolled in STEM majors in college are women. The issue with inequality in education travels on after graduation, as the average female college graduate will accrue approximately $1,500 more in loans than a male. This, combined with the pay gap, means that it will take a female up to 2 years longer to pay off her debt than a male graduate. Because, in the United States at least, we often have damaging stereotypes that women are bad at math and science, we cannot start our efforts towards increasing women in STEM fields at the secondary level. No, we must instead start in primary education by teaching teachers to avoid promoting these harmful falsehoods, and by creating opportunities for girls and women to interact with science, technology, engineering, and math. Coding camps for girls are a great example of how this can be accomplished. So now that we've had a chance to talk about some of the issues and needs of women in higher income countries, we can now talk about the organizations that are helping with these issues. Stephanie talked about UN Women as well, but they do a lot for women in both high and low income countries. They currently have $11.2 million of active grants to aid in counteracting gender inequality, and they have trained over 4,000 female political leaders in over 51 countries. UN Women also put out a movement called He for She, which I'm sure that most of you have heard of, especially because Emma Watson was promoting it. They provide teacher training for gender inequality issues, and they also speak out on gender issues related to health in the workplace. They have a large presence on social media, and they're trying to change the way that people think and speak about women. UNESCO recently had a conference called Cracking the Code, Girls and Women's Education in STEM, and in that they created a targeted data report which basically explained why girls and women aren't active in the STEM fields. It also offered targeted actions on 4 different levels, from the learner, parents and peers, school, and society, to increase girls and women's participation and engagement in STEM disciplines. The next organization is AAUW, which is the American Association of University Women. This organization offers $3.7 million annually to students in funds and grants, and 43% of that funding goes to women in STEM fields. They are also advocates for legislation that supports women, including the Family and Medical Leave Act, the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Hate Crimes Prevention Act, and the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. This last group is a group that's active at FSU. It's the Women in IT Sharing Experiences. It's primarily for undergraduates, but they also have graduate members as well for any of you that are on campus that would be interested in joining. And their mission statement is, WISE will work to provide women in the technology program with opportunities for professional growth, networking, and leadership through partnerships with professional women in the local technology community. So that is all that we have for today. Thank you for both Stephanie and I for watching these videos, and I hope that you all got a little bit of insight into the issues related to girls and women's empowerment. Thank you.